students. For those of you who were unable to join our Zoom classes or who did not receive proper signal or were very busy at that time, probably kay they never thought I would call. Hello, this is your supplement video, and wherein your teacher does not sound like a robot. Okay, for this afternoon, we are going to discuss the manunggul jar. So the manunggul jar is a secondary burial jar excavated from a Neolithic burial site in the Manunggul Cave of Tabon Caves at Lipon Point, Palawan, dating from 890 to 710 BC. Okay, so it is considered as a masterpiece with a designated siya as 64-MO-74 by the National Museum of the Philippines. It was discovered by Robert Fox, and the jar itself gives away its purpose. Now, the jar is peculiar. The jar is not used, unlike many palayoks, is not used to cook food. It is not used even to store water, but it is a part of a secondary burial ritual. Now, unsa man ang secondary burial ritual? So, early Filipinos back in the day did not have any access to any type of embalming. So, embalming is a technology that is successful in some civilizations, but they fail at some civilization. Either way, a not very good embalming technique will make a place stench. Bamubaho siya. So the ideal thing, or what our ancestor did, was they allowed the bodies of the dead people to rot. Okay, they allowed it to rot, madugta siya, and then when these bodies have already been deprived of their flesh and all the other softer organs, the bones are retrieved and are buried in these jars. One jar is called the manunggul jar, and the manunggul jar has the most peculiar designs at top. It's considered as the work of a master potter. The manunggul jar has three figures. It has a boat in the middle. It has a boat which is being rowed upon by the two figures, and the boat has a face, okay, class? And then kaning duha niya ka prominent figures, we have this person who is the ferryman, and then the other person is the soul. The ferryman is somewhat similar to Chiron, or the ferryman in Greek mythology, who would help the dead cross the river of Styx towards the underworld, or to the realm of Hades. So, similar ang iyang functions ato ang ferryman from the manunggul jar. And the person at the front is the soul, or ang ginhawa, or ang kaluluwa. And the soul is positioned to be like this. Normal na to ng Philippine modern positions, when we see ka ng mga caskets, the body is always straight up. But there, the body was in a crossbow ba ni siya nga position. Okay, when the manunggul jar was opened, the bones were dyed red, and they wore many bracelets. So that's a secondary burial. The design of the manunggul jar actually shows that there is an influx of the maritime culture. When you say maritime, it refers to fishing. Okay, it refers to fishing and trade done in bodies of water. Okay, many epics around the Philippines would tell how souls go to the next life aboard boats and pass through rivers and seas, and this belief is connected with the Austronesian belief of the Anito. The fine lines and intricate designs of the manunggul jar reflect the artistry of the early Filipinos, and these designs are proof that the Filipinos' common heritage from the Austronesian speaking ancestors, despite a diversity in the Filipino culture. The upper part of the manunggul jar, as well as the cover, is carved with curvilinear scroll designs which are painted with hematite. The depiction of sea waves on the lid places this manunggul jar in the Sayun culture pottery tradition, and these are the people that migrated in an east to west migration from Borneo to Palawan area to southern Vietnam. So again, the Filipinos believed in the ginhawa and then the kaluluwa. Okay, that's why nana siya tulo ka buok nga na wong. If you're going to look at it closely, I'll be placing a picture here, and you can zoom it for yourselves if you can, that there's actually a face underneath the boat. Weird, no? But that's how it is. It says here that traces of their culture and beliefs can still be seen in different parts of the country and from the Philippines, ethno-linguistic groups, reminding us that there can be a basis for the so-called imagined country called the Filipino nation. The Manungol jar tells us how important the waters were to our ancestors, and before the internet came, the television also and the telegram, the plane, the seas and rivers were a good channel for trade, information, and communication. Okay, so katong ship is called a balangay. Okay, katong balangay. This is probably where we got our modern word barangay, di ba? When we call kanang mga common groups or common territories within a city, we call them barangays. So our ships, which include the balangay, the parao, the karakoa, and the like, were considered as marvelous technologies, and it was considered as advanced by our neighbors that they respected us and made us partners in trade. So one trade partner is a trade partner called China, Imperial China. The Manungol jar, the maritime tradition of the Philippines, it's one of the basis nung ano na ay there's a conflict, there's a disagreement, still an ongoing disagreement between the Philippines and China regarding the arbitration. We already submitted to the Hague Convention, or that katong sa tuang territory, which China claimed, because China claimed that it's part of a historical, economic road. But actually, the same road that they are claiming is also a road that the Philippines also used during the pre-colonial period. So it means that it's definitely the high seas, or it's a neutral territory that can be used by both China and the Philippines. Okay? So, muna na siyang ato ang end of our discussion. This is just a very short 7-minute discussion. It's quite fast, but I know the topic is quite easy. Please do read it. I already posted this. Again, I am very thankful for the author, si Mr. Very thankful for the compiler of this module. I'll just link his name down below. And of course, the source of these are from the nationalmuseum.gov.ph / National Museum Beta Collections Archeo and Manungol HTM. I'll just link it down below so that you can check it out for yourselves. Okay, so thank you for viewing this video. This is very short, but I hope that you understood the concept. So thank you and good afternoon.